YouTube has continued to attack alternative media by demonetizing most of our videos. If you'd like to support the channel, please visit our Amazon store or our Patreon page. Links below. Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Matt Jarbo. This is the Mundane Matt channel, and you're watching Russell for the 2nd of December, 2017. And man, the year's getting closer to being over, and I don't know about you, but I'm looking forward to it. 2017 has been a year of many incredible things and many, oh my God, how things. And we're going to be talking about a couple of those in this particular episode, but I wanted to start off today by talking a little bit about the whole situation involving Michael Flynn. Now, yesterday, news broke that Michael Flynn had pled guilty to lying to the FBI in regards to his disclosures about speaking with Russia and how many times, so on and so forth. Although he only pled guilty to one count, it did come out that he is going to be working with Mueller on the investigation, and who knows what that's going to produce, if it's going to produce anything. I, for one, am not getting my hopes up that it's going to be producing anything, just because I feel like after all this time, it's something would have probably come out. I mean, but if it does, it does. If not, it doesn't change anything about our current situation. But that being said, there was a bit of an error on behalf of ABC, or at least an ABC reporter by the name of Brian Ross, who went on air and made the claim that this particular charge had to do with Trump instructing Flynn to speak with Russia during the campaign and not during the post-election transition process. In fact, actually, Variety is reporting that ABC News suspends investigative reporter Brian Ross for Michael Flynn error. So this is a guy who's been with ABC since 1994, has won multiple Peabody Awards. He is not a hashtag fake news journalist. He's been with them for quite some time. And yet, this was a big one. This was a big mistake to make. This was a really, really big mistake to make. And ABC has, in fact, suspended him for 4 weeks without pay. Will he lose his job? I don't know, but this is their statement on the matter. We deeply regret and apologize for the serious error we made yesterday. The reporting conveyed by Brian Ross during a special report had not been fully vetted through our editorial standards process. As a result of our continued reporting over the next several hours, ultimately we determined the information was wrong, and we corrected the mistake on air and online. It is vital that we get the story right and retain the trust that we have built with our audience. These are our core principles we fell far short of yesterday. Yeah, and it makes sense that they did suspend him. I'm not against it at all. He messed up. And this is not a time where you want to have that kind of mess up happening at all. I mean, we've got this narrative in America right now that the media is wholly untrustworthy, and that no matter how hard they try to regain that trust and retain that trust, in many cases, all you have to say is just fake news, fake news, and put it out there when something like this happens, and it destroys the credibility. That's one of the reasons why commentators like myself have actually been able to grow their audiences pretty high in 2017, because while we are not them, we're coming at it from an unfiltered perspective and trying to pick apart errors in their reporting as well. Now, we're not perfect. Trust me, we make our own set of mistakes here. But when it comes to the current anti-media narrative, where President Trump is going out there and saying that the media is the enemy of the American people, I mean, extremely incendiary statements against the media, it makes it very hard for the media to continue doing their job, especially when they're trying to, get the facts and get it out there. And we're in an age right now where it's not even really be right, it's just be first, and that does so many things to negatively impact mainstream media and just any media in general. And right now is just not the time. So ABC's swift decision to suspend him for 4 weeks without pay is the right one. Will it help them in the long run? I have no idea. I honestly feel that they corrected it online and offline. They've taken steps to punish the person involved. I think they'll ultimately be okay, but it really, really, really kind of just reminds people that you have to have this stuff vetted and verified before saying it. I mean, a random, egghead Twitter account is not held to the same journalistic ethics and standards that someone like Brian Ross is. In the wake of the Harvey Weinstein scandal, we have seen numerous prominent men in Hollywood and media go down. Just recently was Matt Lauer, which came as a shock to many people, including his closest friends. But the second big name to fall in all of this was Kevin Spacey, and the person who outed him was Anthony Rapp. Now, Anthony Rapp has gone on the record as saying that he's being blamed for killing off House of Cards. I'm not kidding you, because in the immediate aftermath of what happened with Anthony Rapp's allegations and Kevin Spacey coming out and saying, "I don't remember this, but I choose now to live my life as a gay man," it really prompted Netflix to just yank every single House of Cards thread they had and pull it all. Just topple that House of Cards. Actually, yeah, that's when that pun would actually work, or that, whatever. Anyway, the point is, it's a dying dead show. They were, going to give it one more season to finish it up. Kevin Spacey's been officially fired from the production company, from the production itself. I mean, at this point, there's no point in even finishing House of Cards. Just let it go, really. But Anthony Rapp is catching a lot of the blame for this. In fact, he was sharing some of the gripes that he got from certain people, like Instagram user Diggable Dude, who blamed him for putting the cast and crew members out of work, saying here, "Season 6 of House of Cards has been suspended. Real people are being affected by this accusation of 3 decades ago. Cast and crew who now have to find new jobs to feed their families and pay bill. I hope this is what Mr. Rapp wanted." Now, I don't believe that the response of Netflix to pull House of Cards is Rapp's fault. They knee-jerk reacted to this thing. At the time, because this was so fresh and it was so crazy, Netflix felt that they did the best thing that they could do. Whether or not you agree with that move is entirely up to you. I'm not even too sure where I stand on it personally. I feel something like that happened, if he acknowledged it and he apologized and Anthony Rapp accepted it, then, and I don't know if that happened or not, then that would be a between them situation. And then that would be the end of it, meaning everyone could go about their lives as usual. But the way this entire situation exploded and continues to explode means that people want to see heads on pikes. They want to see careers destroyed. They want to see people taken down, because this is what's going to give them some kind of justice out of this, maybe for something they've experienced or whatever in their life. Or I don't know. It's these things become symbolic. And to blame Anthony Rapp, I don't think that's right. But he did share a few more of them here. Another person on Twitter named Wakebake wrote, "I'm convinced you wanted attention. Kevin Spacey was drunk and you just cost a lot of fans to miss out on one of the greatest actors of all time because you can't shut up." Yeah, harsh, dude. Okay, that's, again, I don't, just, wow. Another person here says, "No sympathies here. You demolished a very talented man's career over an incident for which you do not have a shred of evidence. It took place, just your word. Furthermore, it happened over 30 years ago, and he didn't break any laws. Pathetic." Definitely a harsh statement right there. I mean, again, it's like, this is one of the things you will hear from people about victims when they come forward, alleged victims when they come forward, and they make these allegations against somebody else. It's like they get attacked, and they're the ones that get a bunch of stuff thrown at them. And the truth of the matter is, there's no way to get around it. There's not. There's legitimately not. And you can sit there and play, well, people are just assholes and they're mean and they don't ever want to be nice, and they should, think, what about the victim? And ultimately they're right. But you still can't police other people's thoughts and opinions. You still can't police how they're going to respond to something. Once that information, once that news is out there, the individual is going to process it and react to it however they can, however they will. And as a result of that, these things come out. I'm not saying I agree with it, just saying that is a byproduct of it. So while Anthony Rapp might be sharing it for the sake of saying, well, hey, this is what I'm getting, and whatever, it's almost like, yeah, okay, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. This is the age we're in, and it's not going to change. And it wouldn't change even if we didn't have social media. People have been getting these kind of threats and these kind of comments all the time. And it doesn't matter, okay, like let's say, for example, Kevin Spacey didn't do it. Kevin Spacey could then come out and say, look at all this type of comments I'm getting as a result of these baseless allegations. So it goes both ways here, whether you are the accuser or the accused, whether you are innocent or guilty, these things will be levied at your feet. It's unfortunate, But it is also the cost of seeking justice, especially in something as public as the hashtag MeToo movement. You know, if there's one thing I can't really stand, it's discrimination against children. Kids have done nothing wrong because they can't ever process and know what they're doing. And if they just are who they are and they are born the way that they're born and they're being treated a certain way, it's not the child's fault. It's the adult. And the adult is an asshole. And that's what's going on here in Pearland, Texas, where a disabled boy who can't speak was deemed a terrorist by a substitute teacher. So the story takes place at C.J. Harris Elementary School in Pearland, Texas, where 6-year-old Muhammad, now we can kind of see where this is going just based upon the 6-year-old first name, was deemed a terrorist by a substitute teacher. Now, the title of the article says that the boy is in fact disabled, which is true. He's 6. For one, he's 6. He's 6. I just want to make that abundantly clear. He's 6. But for one, he has Down syndrome, he has intellectual difficulties, and he doesn't speak. But according to the substitute teacher, Mohammed spoke to this person and said, "I'm a terrorist." And the substitute teacher then reported that to the police, triggering a Child Protective Services investigation. What kind of person do you have to be to make that up? Because, by the way, CPS went to the family's house, talked to the parents, looked at Mohammed, who didn't say anything, and then determined that there was no reason to involve the police and that this whole thing was essentially a giant nothing burger. But the father has said that this is not implied discrimination. This is outright discrimination. And I have to agree. I have to agree. We have a very large anti-Muslim sentiment in this country, in pockets of this country. That's not to say that I agree with the tenets of Islam as a teaching, but it's like I view any organized religion. It's generally not the sheep's fault for following a wolf. That's not, they have their own belief structure. I like to mock organized religion, but as I've always said, have your damn faith. I don't care. But when you target someone, when you make the claim that a 6-year-old Muslim boy who can't speak, who has intellectual difficulties, and who was born with Down syndrome, all of a sudden just looked at you and went, "I'm a terrorist," I'm not going to believe you. This is not some kind of Manchurian candidate FX as the Americans Soviet spy system situation here. This is a 6-year-old kid. What's the most a 6-year-old kid is going to comprehend when it comes to the idea of geopolitics and jihads? The answer there is really nothing, especially when that person can't speak, because he's got the Downs. Now, quite frankly, and this might not be the most PC thing in the world to say, but there was really only one person in that classroom who was retarded, and that was the damn teacher. Growing up, one of my favorite things to do was to read astronomy books. I love looking out into the heavens, looking past our atmosphere into the dark, deep blue of space, the twinkling balls of lights that are stars, possible comets or UFOs or satellites or whatever I can see out there. I love it. I'm enamored by the idea of what lies beyond this blue marble in the sky. And I know I'm not alone. I know that there are people out there that really want to see past the heavens, and we got a glimpse of that with the Mars rover. And it strikes me as super odd that there are people out there that legitimately believe that this world is flat. That there are people out there that disbelieve everything that's presented to them to showcase that the world is an orb. It's round. They don't believe it. I don't know if they're legitimate. I don't know if they are trolling, but they exist. And it is sad one way or the other. Now, the other day, Elon Musk tweeted out, "Mars' sky is the opposite of Earth. Blue sunrise and sunset, red during the day." And then he immediately followed it up by saying, "Why is there no flat Mars society?" Right? I mean, clearly poking fun at the Flat Earth Society, a group that over the course of 2016 and 2017 has grown to some form of prominence by bringing on people like Tila Tequila and another rapper, Bob, B.O.B., that are trying to raise money in order to prove that the Earth is in fact flat. Bob was trying to create a $2 million GoFundMe in order to basically send a satellite up to take pictures of the Earth. Never mind that We have many, and we've seen what the Earth looks like. We know that it's round, because he doesn't believe it. And then just last week, you had a guy who was going to strap himself to a rocket and fire himself up into the air in order to prove that the Earth was in fact flat. He has since canceled that, thank God. But ultimately, that was the thing, right? That was the thing. But then the Flat Earth Society decided to respond to Elon Musk in a way that, oh man. They say here, "Hi Elon, thanks for the question. Unlike Earth, Mars has been observed to be round. We hope you have a fantastic day." What? What the hell? So they know. They've got to be trolling. They've got to be trolling. Unlike Earth, Mars has been observed to be round. Unlike Earth. I don't understand it. I don't get it. They took the bait for one. They took the damn bait. And you know what? I just, it's things like this that make me love the internet. It's also things like this that make me really fear for like people. You know, if you're going to sit there and run an organization like this, at least for the love of God, no, don't run. No, if you're going to run it, you know what? Be trolling. Just be trolling. That way, at least it comes across as slightly more acceptable than legitimately believing that the Earth is flat. And the reason why it's flat is because the government puts chemtrails in the air, so we can't see how flat it really is. That's some, you know, that's some, the Earth has an edge theory shit right there that died out, you know, a long time ago. And exploration and satellites and everything else. I don't know. The naked eye, for example, has shown us that it's all BS, but they just keep on believing. And I guess, you know, good for them, because we always could use a good laugh. All right, so back in 2016, there was a huge hubbubaloo surrounding the Brock Turner trial from Stanford University, where he was accused of assaulting a woman, an unconscious woman, behind a dumpster, essentially. He was found guilty. He was also sentenced to 6 months, and it caused a lot of stir. I mean, this was a national conversation. Joe Biden chimed in. They tried to recall the judge when the sentence wasn't strict enough. And now Brock Turner is back in the news because his attorneys are trying to appeal the conviction and get him a new trial, claiming he did not get due process. And I'm not kidding you either. Yeah, this is happening. And one of the things that I find to be interesting here is that they're actually arguing that the whole behind the dumpster line, which was shared very heavily through not only the media, but everything else, wasn't accurate, and therefore sets a very different opinion, a light on what went down that night. Now, if I recall correctly, he was at a party with this woman. They were drinking. They ended up outside of a garbage enclosure, not a dumpster, but like a garbage enclosure, which is when he penetrated her digitally. So it was just with his fingers, but he got busted for doing this with an unconscious person and an intoxicated person. And now his attorneys are trying to argue for a mistrial and get the whole thing done again. And here's my question: why? You essentially have a client who, whether or not he did or didn't do this, all right, was convicted of the crime. So to many people, he did do it. Even before he was, the sentencing came down or the verdict was read, he was accused of it, all that stuff. It was one of those things. So you've got this happening, and then now his lawyers are trying to get a new trial, and it just doesn't make any damn sense. I don't understand why. It's you got a good deal. Your client's out. He served 3 months. He's already out. You know, granted, this is going to be on his record. He had to register as a sex offender in Ohio. But what are you going to do? All this is going to do is drudge this up again. And here's the kicker. This is a gamble, because if they try him again, and if he gets convicted again, he won't get 6 months. He will get a much harsher and much longer prison sentence. So these guys are literally playing with fire under the guise of thinking, you know what, we might be able to get him off. And I'm just saying, if these guys were there to get Brock Turner off back in 2015 on the night this happened, it never would have gone down like that, because he never would have been out with that woman behind a garbage enclosure. So there's that. It's just, it's not a good idea, and I only see this ending badly for everyone involved. And finally today, guys, this is an odd story coming out of Iran. It's been making its way around the web the last couple days, and ultimately, I can't confirm if this is 100% true, but I still want to talk about it because it's really kind of creepy. So you have an Instagram model or Instagram personality by the name of Sahar Tabar, and she is apparently, and this is just, again, according to the reports that are coming out, 100% in love with Angelina Jolie, and has undergone, and again, this is what the reports are saying, she's undergone 50 surgeries to make herself look like Angelina Jolie. And this is, these are the results. As you can tell, this is utterly frightening, disgusting, horrifying, terrible, and ew, gross. But at the same time, looking at it, you can almost see that this is an act. You can almost tell that this is one thing that she's doing as a way to really kind of play it up, because she looks like a damn zombie, for one, and I think that's utterly intentional. They say she's gone through surgery, which maybe she has, collagen, Botox facelift, maybe a cheek lift, things like that. But ultimately, adding in the contacts and playing up with the lighting and the makeup really does tend to lead to the entire idea that this is just almost a big ass troll job. Especially look at the image on the bottom right. This one here is one that's come under fire quite a bit, because you've got what appears to be some Photoshop marks, some dragging, or some screen tears around her cheeks, around the bottom parts of her cheeks underneath the piercings, almost indicating like she, to get more of a skeletal look, manipulated that in Photoshop. In fact, Snopes.com looked into it, and they've actually said that it is unproven. And other critics have come out and said that she's essentially using prosthetics in order to get the particular look. And honestly, I wouldn't be too surprised if that was the case. Ultimately, this is a good makeup job if that's what she's trying to do. I tried looking at her Instagram account. It's currently on private, and you have to request permission to follow her. So she hasn't responded to that yet, so I can't take a look at it. But I'm gonna chalk this one up to, this is not what the reports are making it out to be. This is not all of that stuff. I do think that she's playing on makeup. I do think she's putting on prosthetics, and I think she's trying to look a certain way. For whatever reason, I literally have no idea. The internet has caused people to do weird things to look like their celebrity friend. Like, there was a guy who spent $150,000 to look like Justin Bieber. There was a girl who spent all that money to look like Barbie. There's some people that spent money to look like Kanye West and Kim Kardashian. This is not out of the realm of possibility of the craziness that some people will do to themselves and their body, in pursuit of looking like their favorite person. If anyone out there ever wants to try to look like Matt Jarbo, the key simply is lots and lots and lots of inactivity and carne asada burritos, and you'll get there in no time. So yeah, I don't really think that this is 100% real, but wanted to talk about it nonetheless, because why not? This is Rustled. We talk about crazy shit here. But with that being said, that is today's show. What do you guys think? Do you think that that any of these stories are interesting? Let me know your comments below. If you have any stories you want to share for another episode, remember, the weirder the better. So head over to mundanemat.com/submit. Link will be in the video description. If you haven't already, thumbs up the video, subscribe to the channel, and check back often for more content from me. I will talk to you guys later. Have yourself a great day, and peace out.